Good Life. I'm Dean Wilson. So glad you're with us. If you're joining us here locally on the airwaves in Santa Barbara, California, we welcome you at TV Santa Barbara. And many of you join us at goodlifetelevision.org. That's goodlifetelevision.org. We welcome you there. All the episodes are there. You can see a lot of great stories, great people, great overcomers, entrepreneurs. We've had so many great guests, so we think you'll love it. Goodlifetelevision.org. You can also, in addition to watching the full form interviews, you can watch what we call power clips on the right side of the page. So it's some good stuff. And you can find us at all the social media platforms as well, as many of you are. And I wanted to mention our podcast. So all these television shows become podcasts, and many of you are finding us at Good Life Conversations. So Good Life Conversations, wherever you get your podcast, Spotify or all the other platforms, you can find us there, Good Life Conversations, and we'd love to have you check it out. I'm so excited about my guest today. Rebecca Capps is with me. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist and also has something called Mind Body Thrive, which is at mindbodythrive.com. We're going to talk all about it. Welcome.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Dean.
Where are you from?
I am originally from a little town called Sonora, not to be confused with Sonoma. It's the gold country.
Okay.
Have you ever been?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So Sonora is up in that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I grew up like chopping down my own Christmas trees and like making jumps in my backyard.
Really?
It was an interesting, fun childhood at times.
Yeah. That's good. How did you end up in Santa Barbara?
I went to school here. I went to UCSB, and then I went on to Pacifica and did my graduate program there.
Okay. And then you just decided to come back.
Yes,
stay.
I fell in love and married Todd, as we were just talking about, and yeah, I'm here now.
We talked about it a little bit before we came on, but Rebecca's mother-in-law is Lois Capps, who used to be our congresswoman for many years. She used to come to my Christmas parties in the cul-de-sac. So Lois, if you're watching, I hope you remember the Christmas parties in the cul-de-sac we had. We had some great times.
That's so wonderful.
I don't know if Lois ever made it to the dance floor.
I bet she did.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
She may have. Maybe so. But Lois Capps, wonderful person, wonderful family here in Santa Barbara. So were you always interested in kind of the stuff that you're doing now? Has this always been kind of part of your life?
Good question. It started, I developed a life-threatening eating disorder by age, I think it was 11, and then I was hospitalized by age 12.
Really?
Yes. Honestly, eating disorders have the highest mortality rate out of any mental illness. 1 in 5 sufferers die, either from suicide or cardiac issues. It's a very serious problem.
Wow.
That's initially what got me interested. Obviously, back then I didn't know that this would be my path, but the journey, it's been long and winding, but I'm here now because I have a calling and I serve women who want to heal in their mind and their body from the inside out.
So how prevalent are eating disorders among young women?
Oh gosh, the rate has exponentially risen. I think it's the 30 million people in America is the current statistic.
Deal with eating disorders.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you came out of that yourself. I mean, you've had that experience.
Yes, and as a result of that, I mean, obviously I'm educated and have all the things, but the experiential knowledge of that really is profound and a gift in this work that I do. And
wow.
Yeah.
So you are a licensed marriage and family therapist and wellness coach. I was reading about this, and you mentioned in here you take a whole person approach to the work you're doing. What does that mean?
That means, for example, we can't look at the bulimic profile. They are often lacking in certain nutrients and vitamins, and as a result, that can mimic that of depression. So instead of just resorting to a pill, a quick fix kind of thing, certainly those have their place, but we need to look at the underlying components, treating the root cause so that we can actually heal. Looking at the mind, what are the cognitive distortions involved that are causing us to get stuck into this negative feedback loop, then we look at the body, like somatic based practices where we can feel safe in the body. And then looking at the thrive part, like how can we thrive and focus on a why to our life? What's the mission here? Because otherwise it's going to be harder to sustain, I would say, your recovery.
Yeah.
What is it? Viktor Frankl, are you familiar with his work?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, Man's Search for Meaning. He was a Holocaust survivor, and his whole family died in the Holocaust. And he came back out of that experience and developed something called logos therapy. And he treated people who were extremely suicidal. And there are a lot of good nuggets from him, but he says, he who has a why can bear almost anyhow. And maybe your audience, they're suffering right now and they don't know how to get to healing.
Yeah.
But if they click into their why,
Yeah.
the pieces will reveal themselves.
That's really good.
Thank
The
you.
why. Yeah.
Yes.
So getting to the why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why am I here?
Why are we all here?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Uh-huh.
So to take the mind, start with the mind part. So, because I was reading about this and you were talking about kind of the loop of negative talk that people can experience.
Yes.
What do you do about that?
Well, there are several things. First, like on the most basic, like cognitive behavioral therapy aspect, we do look at cognitive distortions, like your black and white thinking. The anorexic profile, they do tend to have like very rigid thinking, like black and white. These are good foods, these are bad, and there's no gray area kind of thing. Overgeneralization, kind of viewing everything as like a never-ending pattern of defeat, when really this is just one part of the story. So, I mean, and then also people who are like really perfectionistic tend to place a lot of should statements, like I should be here, instead of we're here now. What can we accept, and how can we have gratitude for where we're at?
Yeah. Gratitude's a wonderful thing.
It is.
Perfectionism's not a good thing.
No, it
Yeah.
is not.
Yeah, I think I've been broken of my perfectionism, hopefully, but perfectionism is a defeating thing for people.
Yeah, you're already defeated
Right.
right out of the gates.
Right. You don't have a chance. Right. That's a
Yeah.
good point. So you're kind of negative self-talk, or does it help? This is something I've thought about. Does it help when someone says it out loud to someone else?
Yes.
Here's what I'm hearing,
Yes.
or here's what I'm thinking. Say it.
Right. Externalizing this, because shame exists only when we hold it
Hide it.
inside. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a petri dish for shame when we're just like not talking about it. So
Yeah.
just being seen, and talk therapy is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
In order to externalize, and then we label these things that go on. There's a whole process, obviously. So going back to what you asked about, like the mind, so there's the cognitive aspects, but then there's also, since eating disorders are medical issues, we have to first stabilize the client, and again, going back to like the nutrients and looking at like blood work, and that's what I mean too by like the holistic picture that we need to treat.
And some of that is a big deal. I mean, if you're really low on iron,
Yes.
it's life-changing.
It really is. There are many studies like with schizophrenia and things like that where iron and vitamin B and zinc are very much missing.
So you want to get a handle on that stuff. So if a client comes in and they're suffering in this way, one of the first things you're doing is stabilizing the body.
Yes.
I mean, getting the
Because
things
then talk therapy can be that much more effective.
right. You feel better.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
that's a
sure
good
do.
point. And is sunshine a big deal? I mean, is sun?
Oh, yes, and grounding and all kinds of just the return to nature.
Yeah. That's so powerful. I mean, that's how that's the world that God created. I mean, that we're in. And so it's amazing how it all ties together.
Yes, a lot of this is about returning to that light and removing any barriers to love that we have. And that was very much the case for me. There's a spiritual aspect to this work that I think goes overlooked oftentimes in my professional milieu.
Is that they're not talking about the spiritual part?
Yes, I believe that many mental health conditions, especially that of eating disorders and addictions, it's a spiritual issue.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. There's a quote, not to be cheesy, but
Yeah.
I'm cheesy. That's
And
fine.
me too. I'm cheesy.
But somebody said, we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience.
That's right.
We're just wearing these bodies for a period of time.
To expand on that, and I completely agree, there's this line in A Course in Miracles, and it's really helped me, and it goes like, I am not a body, I am free. And it reminds me, whenever I'm like in the body image mode, it's like, wait a minute, I am that spiritual being, and this is merely a vessel for me to connect to my why that we were talking about.
Yes, that's so great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's really. So you see people with so if somebody's watching and they know somebody who's dealing with an eating disorder or something like that, you deal with that, and then you help women.
I do. I have male clients, and people often assume that men don't have this too, but they do. It often goes underreported due to stigma, but predominantly I do serve women. Like, that's what got me into this, and I have a strong feeling about this. Once women can heal themselves with this, I mean, we can do anything.
Right.
In business, in our relationships, as mothers.
So if someone's watching this and they're suffering in this alone right now.
Yeah.
They're all alone and they're just, feel like they're dying. What do you say?
That there is hope. I am living proof of that. And that there's power in asking for help.
Yes.
Reach your hand out, ask for it, and then seek out professionals, religious leaders, whoever is inspiring for you and can help you get from point A to point B, and having like a vision for your life.
Yeah.
You may not have it now, but you can carefully and thoughtfully cultivate your life.
Right. It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, like progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
We don't have to be perfect.
That's wonderful. There's a scripture that says, when I'm weak, I'm strong. We tend to, I think in life, especially I think maybe in the United States, independence.
Rugged individualism.
Yeah. I'm strong, and I can't show any weakness. When there's such power when you can show weakness.
Absolutely. I would say it's vulnerability. Brene Brown talks all about it. I'm sure all the therapists talk about it, but she talks about vulnerability and how that too is a superpower. It's the most beautiful thing. I mean, I wouldn't have the life that I'm leading now, the relationship that I have, all of it without that one aspect. And when you're suffering from like an eating disorder, you're going at things alone, you're trying to like do things based on willpower, and you're shutting everyone out because you don't want to show that vulnerable side.
Yeah.
And that did not work for me.
Right.
No.
I don't think it works for anybody.
Yeah.
But the minute you let somebody in and you say it, I mean, that's another thing. I think naming, saying it out loud.
Yes.
Let me tell you what's going on, like with a trusted person, is such a life-changing experience. So it must be really wonderful for you to see somebody coming from real brokenness, real suffering, to coming to life almost.
Honestly, it's really the joy of my life outside of being a mom, to see those kind of transformations.
Yeah.
Because this work matters.
Yeah. So it's absolutely.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, no, vulnerability.
Yeah, it's okay to be vulnerable. You're on the couch.
Yeah.
I'm not a trained therapist, but
Yeah. Yeah.
no, that's really touching. And then is there other, in terms of your counseling, do you do other kind of marriage and family?
I predominantly work with eating disorders and addictions, but
Okay.
then also, collect myself here. I have programs, and I'm currently working on a new one where I'm looping in an Ayurvedic practitioner so that she can, in tandem with my therapeutic services in my program, help people with the intuitive eating aspect and to eat according to their dosha type.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Because everyone has their own constitution, like of a dosha. It's like Vata, Pitta, Kapha. It's an ancient, it originates from India. It's an ancient way of eating and going back to nature and eating according to nature's rhythms. And it's quite beautiful. Going back to the experience that I had in the hospital, like they had to refeed me. I get it. They shoved like Ensure down your throat, which I don't know if you're familiar. It's like that drink that's...
Yeah.
But I was not necessarily taught how to be with food, how to develop a sacredness and just like a healthy relationship, to have satisfaction with it. It was just the enemy. So I try to teach people that they can have a sacred, intuitive relationship with food where they can connect deeply, reconnect, that is, to their hunger cues and their fullness cues.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. So you're saying in this situation and folks facing this issue, their food is like an enemy.
Correct.
And so you're talking about building a healthy relationship with food.
Yes, because unlike with, let's say, AA, that's very clear. I'm not saying it's easy, but just that part is black and white. You cut the alcohol out. You don't do that with food.
Right.
You have to learn how to be with it.
You have to eat. Right.
And it's the great connector. We love breaking bread. It's
Right.
a really beautiful thing.
Yeah. Right. That's a very good point. There, the Bible's full of food references, I've found. I mean,
bet.
Jesus, when he came out, I think he was cooking fish
Yeah.
for his friends on the beach. Like food is a big part of our life, and table and gathering. And there is a beauty to that.
Absolutely.
So if food is the enemy, there's a lot you miss. There's a lot of life that, I'm just thinking out loud here, but is that right?
Absolutely. I feel like almost like on a metaphorical level, to have anorexia nervosa means it's like a denial of life. You denying
Right.
yourself of food is denying yourself of life and the promises of this life.
Wow. So mind, body, and you're wanting to help women and men thrive. If you were to describe, we only have a few minutes left, but if you were to describe kind of that, what does that look like to thrive?
It's like a flow state where you lose track of time. It's not that there aren't hard moments, but you know that there's a greater cause or aim that you're working towards, and therefore there's meaning to your life. And when you die, your memory lives on and the impact of what you've done.
Yeah. You've connected with your why.
Yes.
Yeah. Your life becomes about your why. Yeah. That seems like a powerful vision for somebody who is suffering in the darkness to get free and have hope.
Yeah. I mean, I can't overemphasize the fact that every day I wake up and being able to do what I do, I would not have thought that this would be my reality, or that I could, in fact, transform my wounds into wisdom, and that experience actually was for something.
Yeah. Yes. Redemption. I mean, it's a redeeming story. Your story.
It is. And
Yeah.
I hope to inspire others
Yeah.
to do the same.
Yeah. Beauty from ashes.
I love
Yeah.
that, the phoenix.
Yeah. That's good. We can talk all day.
Oh, all day.
This is wonderful.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So if you know of someone or are someone who needs help in this area, I would strongly commend Rebecca Capps. Mindbodythrive.com. Mindbodythrive.com is where you can find her. She's locally here in Santa Barbara, but so you're taking clients. I mean,
I am. It's honestly the pandemic, like
it's full.
It got real full, but I am, and I'm also, again, with the program, that's going to be helpful too for me to connect to people in a larger, more scalable way too.
I see. Yeah. And what is the program? What is that going to be exactly?
It's going to be Mind, Body, Thrive, and it's going to be, there will be a 3-month and a 6-month long option, and basically replicating how I work with clients individually.
Okay, but they can do it from wherever.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, that's really good. So, licensed marriage and family therapist and wellness coach who's committed to helping people on their path of healing, and it comes out of deep personal experience for Rebecca that it's being transformed into something beautiful. So it's great to talk with you.
Thank you so much for
Thanks
having
coming.
me.
Yeah. See you next
Appreciate
time.
it.